What's up guys, MainManSWE here, hoping you're all doing awesome as always, and lately I've had some time actually to watch a series, which is not often in my case, but I watched The Boys, the Amazon Prime series, 8 episodes, only season 1 so far, we'll see if there will be a season 2. The reason I was interested in this, I'd seen the ads on YouTube, seems to be a superhero series that had some humor and was bloody, you know, to say the least. Looked R-rated and the humor looked dark, so it was interesting. Reminded you a little bit of Watchmen. I thought it was gonna be Watchmen or like Kick-Ass, something like that. And I've talked to you, I did a review on Joker where I said that I had MCU fatigue. I feel like all of those movies follow the same formula, the same A, B, C, D. Pretty much the same movie over and over with different character powers and character names, basically. So Joker was a breath of fresh air. I loved that movie. And coming off that, I felt like I wanted something more along those lines. Like, let's take the superhero genre and let's flip it. And so I was willing to give The Boys a shot, not knowing at all what I was getting into. And I fucking loved it. It was amazing. So while it's doing something very different with the superhero genre, it's not really Joker. You know, Joker is its own thing. Basically a character study of a mentally ill loner. An ultra realistic approach, you know, like if Joker was real, what would it look like, you know? Much more so than The Dark Knight and any other attempt to bring some form of realism to that world. Joker really takes it to 11. And that is not what The Boys does. The Boys still is somewhere between of course there are actual superheroes in the world of The Boys. What it does bring realism to is like, if you look at the cast of the Avengers, like Tony Stark, Thor, Captain America, Scarlett Johansson's character, Black Widow, if those people, those heroes existed in the real world, what would they be like? Honestly, if you look at like Captain America's character, he's so bland. He's incredibly strong, has an incredibly high social status, he's a superhero, but it's pretty much, he's super wholesome, well, farmer boy, pretty much what they make fun of in The Boys. But yeah, where the characters in an Avengers movie, they are like gods, but they act like the most wholesome people you'll ever meet, and harmless, incredibly kind, selfless. And you think if these characters were actually real, would they be as selfless? If you are, I mean, look at Thor, if you are literally a god, would that affect how you interact with people? Would you perhaps be motivated to make some money out of that? Would you take up sponsorships? Would you become a brand? Thor, you know, buy Thor clothes, you know, the Thor beer, you know, would you hunt women? Would you abuse women? Would you know, there's so much. Would you be involved in politics? You're Captain America, you're the most famous guy on the planet, the most popular in the US. Are you gonna run for president? Are you gonna run for office? You know, you're gonna take bribes? Are you gonna take bribes? $200 million if you take out that guy. You know, all of this stuff that, you know, people are very corruptible. The Boys, the series, takes a look at all of that would exist in the real world, but somehow in the Marvel world, you know, they're completely uncorruptible and everything is so bland. You know, Captain America is not an interesting character because there's no grayness to the character, there's no duality, there's only save the innocent. And then in The Boys, everything is much more gray. But the series is extremely dark. I really went out on a tangent here to try and explain, you know, how it looks at celebrity status, you know, and politics and all of that. But the series has a lot of humor, very dark humor, and it starts out already pretty dark, like the first episode touches upon the Me Too movement and sexual scandals in Hollywood. They have an incident in the series with the heroes, a sexual scandal, or someone gets sexually assaulted, molested, raped, you know. It's already super dark, and they really go with it, and they actually they do a lot of really strong social commentary during the series, and it feels super fresh. I honestly can't remember the last time I saw such intelligent social commentary in a series. Because it looks a lot at the psychology and celebrity worship of, you know, the common man looking up to celebrities, you know, like, for example, Brad Pitt, and, you know, just name anyone here, you know, or Kim Kardashian, Kanye West. How that can be abused, and what the power that comes with that, you know, being a Brad Pitt or whatever. This series really takes an interesting look at that, and our idea of a superhero. But it very quickly gets really dark, and I don't mind that at all. But even I'm pretty desensitized. But by episode 7 and 8, I was like, Jesus, you know. Where the first few episodes, it's pretty funny, violent, and dark, but it's still like super entertaining humor and darkness. But once it gets, you know, to the later episodes, it's just so grim. I actually felt pretty bad when it was over, because the last episode left me with such a bad feeling. But of course, while it's, you know, so dark that it makes me feel bad, I just see how incredibly well made it is, and intelligent, and it ends with quite the cliffhanger, and I can't wait to see what else they do with the series. I'm really hoping we get a season 2, and it seems to have a lot of traction, so I think we'll get a season 2. Can't wait to see where the story is heading. But it's so interesting to see. Basically, the gist of the story is that superheroes are real. They take part in society. They don't really touch upon other countries. It's basically the US has like hundreds of superheroes, I think it is. I don't think it's thousands, I think it's hundreds. But 7 of those heroes are seen as like really special. They are the strongest, and they are the 7. And the 7 is a brand. Every superhero wants to become member of the 7. And they have tryouts where superheroes are actually, if they go to casting sessions, they have their headshot done, you know, interviews, everything. What can we market you? Because there's a huge Vought corporation that pretty much owns this whole superhero thing. They own the 7. They market all of these heroes. They sell them to states and cities so the heroes can protect those cities and states. And they make sure they have clothing lines, you know, agents, coaches, PR managers. The heroes have their own Twitter accounts that are run by their, you know, their people, so to say. It's like, it's so in detail, everything in this world, and it really feels like, well, yeah, if Captain America was real, he probably would have someone running his Twitter, someone doing his costumes, someone, you know, it's so incredibly interesting, and the attention to detail is just astounding. But it's interesting that the main superhero, the leader of the 7, known as the Homelander, of course, you know, he has the American flag as his cape. He is supposed to be Superman, and then you have someone who is supposed to be Aquaman, Wonder Woman, Batman, The Flash. You know, they are all there. But the Homelander, the Superman, is a super interesting character, and I don't want to spoil anything, but it's basically the perfect example of a Superman who's very human, has insecurities, and who goes dark. It's well, he starts out as a little bit goofy, a little bit funny, slightly dangerous, you know. You respect him, but he seems a little bit goofy. Oh my god, it's really the most... I don't think I'm spoiling anything when I say that he is a villain, but it's the most disturbing TV villain, or honestly, I'm gonna put in movies here, one of the most disturbing screen villains I've seen in quite some time. Come the last episodes, and I'm like, oh, Jesus. He's portrayed by an actor known as Anthony Starr. Well, known as. His name is Anthony Starr. I haven't seen him in anything before. He was in Banshee, I've heard. And his work as Homelander, he's incredibly convincing. And I saw other people write that his eyes are so menacing. And I can only agree, but there's something happening in his just blank stare where it's like... He's just... And there's more to it than that. He's an incredible actor, and the goddamn aura he can bring out in terms of, you know, being intimidating and scary is it's just something else. It's the series is worth watching for that alone. But the central story that is presented in the first episode is that you have those heroes, and then, of course, if those heroes were real, you know, those powers. I mean, just imagine Thor fighting a monster outside my window. They are so strong that everything is pulverized, and, well, basically more so than the Marvel movies, what would happen if they were real? And this was, of course, attempted in Man of Steel, when Kal-El, Superman, is fighting General Zod in the end, and they basically destroy all of Metropolis. And I still remember seeing that in the cinema, and I was like, Jesus, this is so disturbing and distasteful, because when everything is destroyed, Superman kisses Lois Lane as the buildings are crumbling in the background, and it looks like an atomic bomb has hit the city, but it's still a romantic moment as Lois Lane and Superman kiss, and I just go like, really? Really? That's when you have your romantic kiss. It was just so dumb. Yeah, so what would happen if they fight? And then the story kicks off by our main character, Huey. His girlfriend is killed by the Flash. You see this in the trailer, I think, even. Flash runs right through her in, you know, well, the speed of a Flash. He's as fast as, what, light? I don't know. But she basically disintegrates into tiny pieces, and Q is of course distraught, and he wants revenge, and then he meets up with a couple of guys led by Butcher, played by Carl Urban, who's a very gritty anti-hero who also is looking for revenge, and basically they are going to try and kill the superheroes. And how do you do that? They are superheroes, and that's a very interesting thing. You know, how does a regular human being kill the concept of a superhero? You know, how do you kill Superman? So that's a very interesting thing they do in the series. But more than anything, I would watch this due to the gritty and gray nature of it, the attention to detail, the politics, the rich characters. Everyone has depth. Everyone. Yeah, it's the characters are just great, you know, and there are no real heroes. The closest thing you come to a real villain, because even the bad guys have some lighter sides to them, but yeah, you do have someone who turns into a super bad guy, but you don't really have a real hero, other than perhaps, I think the most sympathetic character is the new member of the Seven who joins on the first episode. That's the character I would say I rooted for the most, because everyone else, in my opinion, is not really a hero in this series. Just a bunch of anti-heroes, and it's yeah, it's just incredibly well made. So yeah, I really loved it, can't wait for more of it as season 2, and I would really recommend you to watch it if you haven't already done so. Just incredible. And I wonder if also this will motivate the MCU to do something very different, because Joker has been a phenomenal hit, $900 million as we speak on a $55 million budget. The pound for pound, if you take the budget into consideration, the most successful superhero movie of all time, not Avengers Endgame. So it's incredible. And now you have The Boys. Will those two motivate MCU to do something different? We'll just have to wait and see. But either way, I hope you... There's so much to say about this series, but I hopefully caught the most important talking points I wanted to share. But yeah, I hope you all have a great day. Take care.